Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. It's the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, I go as PD Beats. A very big event is happening in Toronto, Canada this weekend. The 159th Queen's Plate is happening on June 30th, and before the actual race itself, June 29th and June 30th is Queen's Plate Festival. Here to speak about it is CEO of Woodbine Entertainment, Jim Lawson. Jim, welcome back to Popternative.
Great, Peter. Great to be on again. Thanks for having me on and a chance to talk about the Queen's Plate.
No, absolutely. So for the people that don't know much about the Queen's Plate, I mean, a lot, like, people are familiar about the race itself, but the whole event has been taken to a whole new level. There's so many different activities for family. Talk a little bit about the Queen's Plate. Talk about the work that went into putting this whole thing together.
Sure. It's been transformational. I would say the last 3 or 4 years. I think there's been an appreciation at Woodbine and maybe more generally in the horse industry, and that we, like a lot of sports with an aging demographic, have to work harder to attract the young people and get them out. And in order to do that, what we've determined, Peter, is we have to give them that experience. And so I think what you're going to see this weekend at Woodbine is an entire festival with great music, fashion. We're expecting 35,000 people minimum on wow. Saturday.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, huge event. The music is what a lot of people are talking about. On the Friday, you're going to have Brad Paisley, who is a country superstar, performing at the event. Sam Roberts is going to be part of this as well. There's a fashion show. What was kind of the planning like of trying to figure out who to get, who is available? How did Brad Paisley come to be?
Sure, it's a good question, and it's something new to me. I've had some involvement through the Canadian Football League with lining up halftime acts, as you saw in Ottawa last year with Shania. But this has been working with Live Nation. We told them that Live Nation that we wanted an A-class act, and I believe our preference at the time was let's try a big country music star. And the idea was to bring in a top country music performer. I think working well with the demographics of horse racing and a new crowd, and country music is so popular these days that that's what we determined. And then Brad was available on the Friday night, and we thought that was great as an entree to the weekend. And then, of course, we've lined up Sam Roberts to play on Saturday night right after the Queen's Plate. So it's a spectacular weekend of music, and it should be fun.
You mentioned the idea of trying to get the younger demographic into horse racing. Talk a little bit about the current state of that process right now. Do you think it's getting better? Are we seeing a wider spread demographic of younger audiences being interested in horse racing? Where is that going right now?
I think we're on the upward swing. There's a noticeable difference. I mean, it's certainly easier to attract people to big events. I mean, this Queen's Plate is now on the social calendar. We will have 12,000 to 15,000 young people here on Saturday at the Hats and Horseshoes party, and people like to come out and dress up and wear hats and seersucker suits, and that is really changing. It's that millennial generation, as you well appreciate, loves experiences, and we're providing that experience. The real trick, Peter, is getting them back. They'll come for the big events. So then the question is, are you going to come back next weekend? They say, boy, we loved it here. We never thought racing was so much fun. And that we're seeing an improvement on, because I think once people are here, they're starting to realize, hey, parking is free, admission is free. There's a lot going on here. The food is great. And we're starting to see just on our patio on Wednesday nights and matinees on Fridays and even afternoons, we're seeing a good young healthy young crowd coming out, and it's just something to do. It's something different. It's a new experience, and it's starting to work. So we're excited about it.
we know that the Woodbine team is in full effect for the social media. I mean, social media is a big part of a lot of these events. You know, people are going to be on their phones. You know, people are going to be taking photos. There's going to be so many things. There's the fashion week. There's going to be a lot of food trucks. What would you say? In your opinion, we talked about last time you were on, we were talking about the Grey Cup, but you know, the social media has changed the way we go to events as well. It's almost like we're at an event, we're watching a race, but we have our phones and we want to tell people about what's going on. What do you think about that culture?
Well, I'm not sure what I think about it. I think it's certainly something that we in the sports and entertainment business need to respond to, because it's very real and it has a lot to do with that experiential, being seen, having fun, showing your friends what you're doing. And so we work very hard at it. We have really dropped the idea, and to a large extent, of traditional media, print media, television media. We still do some radio media. But for the most part, we are working with social influencers, which is a new term for me, and we're ramping up our social media department at Woodbine, and working very much on the content. And so it's changed. It's changed the way to market it, and it's changed the way people enjoy it. And this weekend plays right into that culture.
We'll get back to the festival, but let's talk about the race a little bit. I understand that in terms of the contenders, there's a lot of American jockeys that are coming up for the race. Talk a little bit about the race itself.
The race has come up surprisingly competitive and large. I mean, we had a competitive field. We have the Queen's Plate Trial 3 weeks ago, and the Canadian Oaks for fillies 3 weeks ago as prep races for this. And I think it led people to believe there weren't any runaway winners in that race. And what that's led to now is a huge field for the Queen's Plate. We have 16 horses scheduled to enter this morning. Post position draw is at 9:30 this morning, so I'm headed over there shortly for that, and we're expecting 16 horses, so a big field, which is really fun, and so that will lead to good wagering, and people, I think in part, a lot of people want to participate in the Queen's Plate weekend, so if they have a horse with a chance, they're going to enter, because it is a wide open field. Two of the favorites are coming out of that Canadian Oaks race, 2 fillies. So it's the girls against the boys again, which will be exciting. Last year, Holy Helena, owned by Frank Stronach, won it. And she, I think she's encouraged people to put the girls in this year. We have the 2 top finishers in the Canadian Oaks coming in. So the race is exciting. But on top of that, as you referenced, Peter, we've got 5 of the top jockeys in the United States coming up for them. Joel Rosario, Johnny Velasquez. These are Mr. Castellano, Mr. Ortiz. These are household names in the United States in the horse racing world. And that, again, raises the level of just interest across North America when you have 5 of the top jockeys heading north. It's going to be an exciting race, exciting day at Woodbine. It's the post time. I slipped and said post time earlier is at 5:36. It's on CTV on Saturday, so it's an exciting race.
Mm-hmm. A few more quick questions before we wrap up. But what are you looking forward to the most for the weekend? Because I want to know what Jim Lawson, because there's so many different events. I want to know specifically what you're excited about. Are you excited about the music, or are you just excited about the atmosphere?
I gotta be honest. I'm excited about Brad Paisley. I'm a huge country music fan. I think that's great, and I think for all our the other thing that excites me is, as you can imagine, and it's a little bit about putting together a Grey Cup and a Grey Cup festival. There's so much work that goes into organizing an event, the food, the music, the fashion, the racing. I'm excited for our employees. I mean, they're going to put together a weekend not to be forgotten, and it's one of those things that at the end of especially at the end of the day on Saturday, as we're wrapping up Saturday night and having a reception with the winning owner and announcing. I regularly read out a telegram that we send to Queen Elizabeth announcing the winner of the race, and I read that out. The telegram. It's actually a fax. The Queen then Buckingham Palace then issues a bank draft or a banknote for 50 guineas to the winner. And it's at the end of that day that what excites me is you look back and reflect and say, wow, our people did a great job pulling together an amazing event. And that excites me, just the idea that so much hard work. And we start planning for next year, 2019, almost Monday, we'll start planning for next year. And so much hard work goes into it. So that excites me too, just the idea that our employees and management team can come together and organize such an amazing event. And I know it's going to come off beautifully, and we're going to have great weather, maybe hot, but it's going to be great weather, which I said to someone this morning, the concert will do well because people at 9:00 here when Brad Paisley comes on Friday night, it's going to be a beautiful night and people will be really happy that they're here.
No, absolutely. Well, Jim, thank you so much for coming back on the show to talk about this event. Now, where could people still get tickets for this? Like, what could people expect in terms of where could they buy tickets? Like, they go Ticketmaster. How could they get event?
Absolutely, it's Ticketmaster.ca. It's the deal of the century. I mean, our goal at Woodbine is to expose people to horse racing, so you can come to Brad Paisley and Sam Roberts and Queen's Plate and the Fashion Show for a pretty very low price for the entire weekend. And so it's but our goal here, as I said, is really to expose people to horse racing and the entire festival. So we're excited about it.
Perfect.
And thank you, Peter.
No, thank you. I wish you and the Woodbine team all the best for the event as well, because from event planning, I know how intense it could be. So
yeah, lots to do, but our team does a great job, and we're excited, and people who come out here this weekend will love it.
Absolutely. Well, great. Thank you so much, and enjoy the weekend.
Thanks. Good to talk to you, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. Well, this has been Popternative. You can catch previous episodes of Popternative on youtube.com/Popternative and audio only iTunes and Spotify. All the information will be in the links for the 159th Queen's Plate at Woodbine, so be sure to check that out. And until next time, this is Jim Lawson and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.